playing through one of my favorite McCoy Tyner songs ever called The Greeting. Give it up for McCoy Tyner, one of the jazz greats, Philadelphia's own, born December 11th, 1938, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I think he passed away in early March of 2020, right before the pandemic. McCoy Tyner, Lyle Mays, that same week. Two of my favorite piano players ever. Rough Times, R.I.P. And both of them are masters of the sus chord, or the sustain chord. So I was just playing through one of McCoy's songs called The Greeting. It's all sus chords. It falls really easy on the guitar, too, right? Check it out. It's really nice grip there, and it's such a great sound. And then, another one of the grips that I played was like this, one finger, right? You kind of run across a lot of these type of chords in R&B and funk, They're a great wide open sound, and that's what a suspended chord is. It's a wide open sound. Sus, right? It's not major, it's not minor, it's a little sus, and it's a great sound. Now check it out. How can we use a suspended chord in jazz, right? Well, I'm not going to necessarily use these kind of chords if I'm playing like more traditional sounding stuff, especially if I'm like playing like Charlie Parker stuff. It would be really difficult to fit this stuff, these kind of voicings in within the context of the discipline of that music, right? But in stuff like this, you hear the sus chord, and it's really cool. You also hear it in a lot of pop music, right? Right? I don't have to play anymore, but it's such a great sound. And there's two types of sustain, right? I have a sus 4 and a sus 2, right? Very similar, but a little different. And they're just a really nice color context while you're playing. So you're asking me, LT, how can I use this while I'm playing bebop? Well, bebop, there's a couple different ways that you can use this in a jazz setting. When I first was learning about the sus chords, and you hear this in a lot of Isley Brothers songs too. I love this sound. What is really happening here? You can use the sustain chord as a substitute for a 2. Right? Right to the F there, right? So I played, instead of G minor, C, F, I played this C sus to a C7. That's how I resolved up to an F major there. It's really nice. I can also use it to build tension, and I can go from this F on top. This gives it more of a sharp 11 kind of sound, right? Which is a really cool sound. And you can resolve low, you can go high, you can go, however way you want to go with that. So that's a really cool way to use a sus chord. Another way that you can do this, when you're hearing and playing, how do you know if it's like a sus major or a sus minor? When I was playing that song in the beginning, it was pretty clear to me that these are all like major chords in disguise. And what this sustain is doing is it's kind of like, taking the edge off that major chord a little bit and making it possible for you to kind of like ride it out for a couple bars, instead of just playing like, just kind of playing like that. So when you're using a sustain chord, it can be major or minor. Now, when it's minor, sometimes it's notated as a D minor 11, and then however you want to resolve from there, right? Can you do like a double sussy thing and go D minor? Well, if you're going to go and play a G sus and then resolve it to a G7, of course it's going to be able to resolve. But these suspended chords are a real modern sound and a real cool, easy grip to get on the guitar. You don't have to stretch a lot to play them, but, you want to use them judiciously. I believe in one of the real books, it has, on Black Nile, it has this, oddly enough, McCoy was the piano player on that. The bridge to that song, sometimes written music, it can get really difficult to notate this, right? And I'm thinking about that piece of music in general, because the bridge to Black Nile is G, but it's just G minor, C, F, B flat, E flat, D, G minor, C, F, B flat, E, A, back to the D minor, right? But in the real book, it has some really crazy stuff written out, right? One of the chords might be like a C7 sus. And that might have been like what McCoy played on one of the comps one time through. You got to be careful. A lot of the music that I fell in love with playing jazz was a lot of that Wayne Shorter stuff, the Wayne Shorter Weather Report stuff, the Wayne Messenger stuff, the Wayne stuff with Miles, and of course Wayne solo stuff. Some of the music is pretty deep, and the tonality is sort of implied, and it's very difficult to write it down. And when people do attempt to write it down, it might be like, oh man, I saw a really great video that Brad Williams did on Pinocchio, and he really laid it down perfectly. And I feel like he mentioned something about like, with that group, it's just like they play different changes on stuff all the time. And I mean, what you're seeing in the real book might be what Ron walked one chorus, or those guys played one time on one bootleg recording that somebody heard and decided to throw in there, to make it super hip. Being judicious with where you're putting this sus is really going to help you out too. Like I said, it really starts out great. Like, if you're playing like impressions, and you're think about impressions like, you think about it as like a Dorian, but really it's a dominant, right? That's a sus sound that people are playing over. Is it easier to play like wide open sounds over a minor chord or a major chord? And I think it's a major chord. You can try it too and try to play more of a G sus sound over that, a tune like So What or a tune like Impressions. And even though you're dealing with the same notes, just the simple idea of thinking slightly different within the key will produce a lot of new ideas. All right, jazz guitar friends, I'm going to wrap it up. Hope you like this new guitar too. Westfield Guitars, they're awesome. Thank you so much, Misaki. I hope you dug the video. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, right? Gotta get that cliche in there. I appreciate all the amazing support. Thanks for tuning in. Bebop!